Your initial question when we started
is how far are we away from war?
How far are we away from war? Well, let me just say, we're very close to war if the wrong decisions are made. And what causes me serious concern was something that happened within a few weeks of this conflict beginning. Who was the Prime Minister of
Germany?
Of Israel at the time?
Oh, Israel.
Naftali Bennett. Naftali Bennett.
I was going to say the old one. What was his name?
Netanyahu. No. Netanyahu's come back again.
He's come back again.
Yeah. He's the Jewish yo-yo man. Okay. Yeah, he always comes back. And Naftali Bennett at the beginning of this conflict, so a few weeks in, said that he came out and he publicly stated that he has been stopped by the US and the UK, from brokering a peace deal between dancing clown Zelensky.
I was about to get into him,
Well, we're going to get into him in a moment. Between dancing clown Zelensky and President Putin. And so unfortunately, just one moment, Naftali Bennett, the Israeli Prime Minister, was prevented from doing so. That shocked me. Because everybody tells me that the Jews rule the world, but they certainly don't rule in this one because he had zero influence. And not only that, Naftali Bennett was forced to walk back on the comments that he made.
Which were?
The comments that he said that Britain and America stopped him from brokering a deal.
What do you mean he had to walk back on them?
He walked back. So initially he said that he was stopped, and then afterwards he says, "Well, I wasn't really stopped." So
why would he say it in the first place?
Well, as I said to you, Naftali Bennett was clearly speaking the truth, and when he spoke about the behaviour of the British, I mean, you saw the maniacal behaviour of Boris Johnson. And head racist and child sniffer Joe Biden. In fact, I'll take that back because this is a serious video.
He said child sniffer.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that. I'm actually going to take that back because we're really in serious times, and I really shouldn't go into ad hominems. But the truth is that when someone as powerful as the Israeli Prime Minister is slapped down, then something clearly is going on in the background that we are not seeing.
So let's get into what I said I was going to get into. What are your thoughts on Zelensky?
I think that Zelensky is part of the problem. When Zelensky came to power, I think it was in 2019, might be 2018, I can't remember. Very tired at the moment. But when Zelensky came to power, what was his pitch? What was the mandate? I've come to make peace. This is what Zelensky said. Now, since that time, we've learned that the question we should ask...
He didn't do that while he was dressed in the latex, did he?
Well, he was dressed in latex. Apparently, he was a comedian, but he wasn't funny. And
right.
he dressed and danced in some really revealing clothes. I'm not quite certain where he came from, because I understand, or I'd like to think that I understand some of the Ukrainian mentality, and they're very macho in their outlook as men, and I was quite shocked that Zelensky was first, quote unquote, voted into
He was just
power.
getting his LGBTQ on, that's all.
Well, anyway, it is Pride Month, by the way.
It is Pride Month, yeah.
Apparently, Zelensky is someone that we should look at very closely, because for me, he has been imposed on this country with a very definitive mandate, and for me, it's to act as a pawn in a proxy war that is going on between America and Russia. That's what's going on at the moment. I find him duplicitous. I find him fraudulent. I find him a liar, and I find him to be a dictator. Now, we know that they have shut down the opposition in Ukraine. Many people who have been jailed. They've closed down TV channels. They've imprisoned some Christians. In in Ukraine. We know that he's a supporter of Nazis. Some people say, oh, but he is Jewish. He may call himself Jewish, but many of these people who call themselves Jewish, it's malleable, the term, and they use it when it suits them. And
because we already spoke about the Nazis that are actually part of the army.
Absolutely. And I would say that if you look at the behaviour of President Zelensky, he's seen that his country is being systematically degraded. Yeah, he's seen that his infrastructure is being slowly taken apart, and he does not have the wherewithal. Yeah, as much as he is controlled, if Zelensky came out tomorrow and said, "I want peace,"
what would happen?
What could happen? The truth is this: is that Zelensky is being controlled by the Pentagon. He's not being controlled by Ukrainian politicians.
That's a huge statement, big bro.
Well, the thing is, well, don't ask me. Yeah, ask Naftali Bennett. Do you understand? Don't ask me. Ask the plethora of people, real clever people, far cleverer than I am. I'm not clever at all. You look at academics like, for example, Professor John Mearsheimer. For example, Google him. Don't watch me. Stop this video. Click on Professor John Mearsheimer and hear what Professor John Mearsheimer has to say. It's actually quite shocking who and what Zelensky is and why he was placed in that position. Do I believe he even won that election? Actually, I don't. But we've had.
So now we're talking about corruption now.
Well, can I just say to you, it wasn't me, that said that Ukraine is the most corrupt nation in Europe. Yeah, that was the American Congress.
Over the last few days, numerous Ukrainian officials were fired from their posts or arrested after several faced allegations of corruption in the country's media. The accusations against them vary. Ukraine's acting Minister for Regional Development was arrested after the country's Anti-Corruption Bureau accused him of receiving over $400,000 in bribes. The country's Deputy Defense Minister stepped down from his post after revelations were made that his ministry was buying military provisions, including food for troops, at inflated prices. Then, President Zelensky's own Deputy Chief of Staff resigned after journalists revealed that he had acquired a habit of using expensive sports cars to travel around the country. This happened even as the country's economy was being decimated by Russian missiles. In total, several key ministers, 5 deputy ministers, and numerous regional governors and top officials have either been fired or asked to resign from their jobs in a matter of days. This scandal places Ukraine's long struggle with corruption in the spotlight. The fact is that the country has struggled with the corruption crisis since it became independent after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991.
So from 2016, they said it was the most corrupt nation in Europe.
Well, they're schizophrenic.
And now we're in 2023, and all of a sudden they're friends.
Well, they're schizophrenic, the Americans, because as I said to you, they've now removed the restriction on funding neo-Nazis. Isn't that interesting? But certainly from the time the West engineered the coup in 2014, and I think it was Yankovic. I remember quite rightly. As I said, I shouldn't be filming when I'm tired. But from the time you had that coup, from the time the EU tried to insert themselves once again in 2014, giving strength and succor to Nazis to continue and carry on their killing spree in the Russian-speaking areas, from the time Ukraine decided that they wanted to be members of NATO, literally putting Russian missiles on their border and threatening the security and the integrity of the Russian state. It's very, very difficult to see this man as anything more than a puppet, because we all think in terms of the world of separate countries. The people who actually run and control this don't actually do that. Yeah, they think very, very differently, as I said, to what we think, to what we believe. Now, look, I said this earlier on, what the Russian objective is. They will have to do what Russia says, no matter what anyone tells
Ukraine will have to.
Ukraine will have to. Yeah, NATO
That's
will
not
have
what
to
we're
back
taught, though,
down.
bro. We're not shown that, though.
No, I understand that, but look, let me tell you, Macron, is drifting away.
Of France.
Yeah, Macron of France is drifting away. He has his own problems. He's drifting away, from this militaristic adventure, which is American and British led. The Germans are furious, behind the scenes with America, least of all because Americans blew up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
I was coming to that.
They blew up.
That has been said. That it is
the Nord Stream 2
let me just
pipeline.
say this.
Is this mine?
Yeah, that's yours.
Okay.
It has been said that one of the most non-spoken about, but one of the most heinous things that has happened in this modern day has been the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline.
Well, I can go further, and I can say it is the greatest ecological disaster in the history of this world. And you'll see a video in a moment of President Biden threatening to do this 4 to 5 months before it actually occurs.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chancellor Scholz. Mr. President, I have wanted to ask you about this Nord Stream project that you've long opposed. You didn't mention it just now by name, nor did Chancellor Scholz. Did you receive assurances from Chancellor Scholz today that Germany will in fact pull the plug on this project if Russia invades Ukraine? And did you discuss what the definition of invasion could be? And then Chancellor Scholz, wenn ich Sie fragen darf,
if I may ask you, Chancellor Scholz, you said there was some strategic ambiguity that was needed in terms of sanctions. I just wanted to know whether the sanctions you are envisaging and the EU is working on, and the US as well, are already finished, finalized, or is there still work ongoing? And you're not really saying what the details are. Is that just an excuse for Germany maybe to not support the SWIFT measures?
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Thank you very much for your question. I want to be absolutely clear. We have intensively prepared everything to be ready with the necessary sanctions if there is a military aggression against Ukraine. And this is necessary. It is necessary that we do this in advance so that Russia can clearly understand that these are far-reaching, severe measures. It is part of this process that we do not spell out everything in public, because Russia could understand that there might be even more to come. And at the same time, it is very clear we are well prepared with far-reaching measures. We will take these measures together with our allies, with our partners, with the US, and we will take all necessary steps. You can be sure that there won't be any measures in which we have a differing approach. We will act together, jointly.
This is a good idea to say to our American friends, we will be united, we will act together, and we will take all the necessary steps, and all the necessary steps will be done by all of us together.
Today to turning off and pulling the plug on Nord Stream 2? You didn't mention it, you haven't mentioned it.
As I already said, we are acting together. We are absolutely united, and we will not taking different steps. We will do the same steps, and they will be very, very hard to Russia, and they should understand.
Yeah. Now, look, it wasn't me that said it. You know, people can say, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." Look, it wasn't me that said it. It was Seymour Hersh that said it. It was John Mearsheimer.
Who is Seymour Hersh?
Seymour Hersh was the investigative reporter who broke the story that led to the fall of Richard Nixon. I think it was 73, if my mind serves me correctly. And the corruption and the lies and the deceit at the heart of that administration. And he brought him down by uncovering what was going on within the Nixon administration. It was Seymour Hersh that used all of these contacts within the intelligence agency circles, within the Pentagon, within the military, and so on and so forth, and gave a very accurate description of what he says has happened. So I don't want you to think that it's me who is saying this in their conspiracy theories. There are people, as I said, far brighter than I could ever wish to be, who have looked at this, they've investigated it, and this is what's happened.